years, many organizations had either implemented or in the process of implementing enterprise-wide systems such as an ERP, a CRM, or an electronic medical record system. These systems, which provide core functionality to run the business, are usually large and complex. They typically support integration and coordination across various functions in the organization by enabling information flows within and between processes throughout the organization. The tight relationship between enterprise systems and business processes means that implementation not only requires many resources, including people, time, and money, but they also often require change of processes, which in turn change the way people do their work. Since most of us prefer routines to change, technical know-how of the system is not sufficient for successful implementation. It is more about managing the project and managing change than about the technology itself. It is imperative to understand the relationship between information systems and the transformation of business. The business should be viewed as a set of business processes rather than functional silos. We then need to understand how workflows are managed, how business processes can be redesigned using radical and incremental techniques, and how to integrate information across the organization to support business processes. Whether it is an ERP system, CRM, supply chain management, product lifecycle management, electronic medical record system, and so forth, these systems are available today as commercial packages that can be purchased from vendors who typically base the system on generic and industry-specific best practices. Consequently, organizations need to understand to what extent a system can support their business. They need to understand the required capability of the system and whether it is aligned with the desired level of process integration and standardization. How much information needs to be shared across business units? How much standardization is required versus local flexibility, etc. The system also needs to be aligned with the desired business processes and information flows. We need to ask questions such as whether the system supports current business processes, or are we using the system to enable business transformation? If the goal is to transform business processes, does the system provide tools to implement change and tools on which the change is based on? Or are the capabilities of the system mismatched with the desired transformation and therefore might impede change? The other question we need to ask is whether the new system links with existing systems and whether it links with systems of suppliers or customers. Enterprise systems can improve operational efficiencies, reinforce standards, and provide a single view of the data and seamless flow of information across the organization. However, they usually require organizations to change processes which can come with a hefty price. Before investing time and money implementing an enterprise system, the organization needs to understand the option for sourcing the system and associated information services, and to ensure required capabilities for managing the implementation and maintaining the system. The first question is whether to insource, make, or outsource, buy a system or information services. In the Zara case, we saw that applications were built and maintained in-house. The ERP implementation at Cisco, on the other hand, is an example of an in-house implementation of an off-the-shelf system from Oracle. One of the newer outsourcing models is the cloud. For example, rather than implementing or running a CRM application, which is in-house or hosted by a third party, companies such as Salesforce.com offer cloud solutions which do not require a company to install or maintain any hardware or software. While insourcing keeps IT competencies in the organization, it also can require resources that might serve the company better on other added value activities. Outsourcing is usually driven by the desire to reduce cost or to focus on the core competencies of the business. However, outsourcing can result in loss of control and typically requires coordination with or management of vendors. We will see an example of these issues later in the course when we discuss other cases such as the iPremier case. Regardless of the outsourcing model, it is imperative to not only select a capable and reliable vendor, but also to ensure contract terms that clearly specify the scope of the service level agreement, which is the expected performance of the service and exit terms. We conclude the unit by examining management of IT projects, which typically involves building, using, altering, or integrating information systems. Since all projects require a flow of limited resources, they need to be planned for and carefully executed and controlled. We examine key elements of project management, including project cycle plans such as PERT, CAPM, and Gantt, as well as development methodologies such as system development lifecycle, agile development, and prototyping, the latter being the methodology used in the implementation of the ERP system at Cisco. There are many well-known examples of IT projects that failed, projects that ran over time, ran over budget, and even some that resulted in financial losses. For example, the 2005 rushed ERP implementation at Overstock.com resulted in the ERP application being out of sync with the accounting software, and consequently, the company had more than $10 million increase in cumulative net loss. Or Hershey going live with their ERP implementation in 1999 during their busiest season of Halloween, causing inventory and ordering issue resulting in 19% drop in revenue during that quarter. Some projects are simply abandoned as the Air Force running away from a $1 billion failed ERP project in 2012. The reality is that a success of a project is more about management than the technology or the software itself. Virtually every deployment of an enterprise system involves three parties: the customer, which is the organization that buys and implements the system, the software vendor or service provider, like SAP or Oracle, and the system integrator or consultant, such as Deloitte Touche and KPMG. Each of these parties has its own definition of success, and consequently, many projects are affected by conflicts of interest rather than efficient, coordinated efforts. It is therefore important for the organization that invests money and time to implement the system to make sure that senior management is fully committed to the project. Appropriated resources are allocated, including time, money, and bringing the right people to the table, and that the relationships with the vendor and the system integrator are managed. The bottom line is that IT projects involve two main management areas: risk management and change management. I am sure that some of you experienced a successful implementation, while others have horror stories. By examining best practices and analyzing failures, we can learn how to be productive participants in implementation of systems in our organization. So let's dive in and learn about management of enterprise-wide systems. Thank you.